Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm Dr. Jane Montrose, your host with my husband, Dr. Philip Montrose, and we're the co-directors of Awakenings Institute, a nonprofit organization that's devoted to creating a more loving world. So thank you for being here and being a source of light for the world. We're really happy tonight to have with us the people actually who brought us to where we are. We'll be talking about that. 30 years ago, they got us on the path that we're on now. So it's Karen Anderson and Barry Snyder, who are spiritual teachers and just amazing, amazing beings. So we'll be introducing them in a moment here. First, I'd like to just take a moment for us all to slow down. Take a few nice breaths. You might even want to close your eyes if you're not driving, of course. And just breathe and feel the breath in your body. And knowing that we're always surrounded with love and light. It's really what we embrace that we receive. So we can invite that as we breathe in. Breathing in that love and opening our hearts to receive. And just taking this time to be in the moment together. So as an introduction to Karen and Barry, we'll forever be grateful. It always makes me kind of weepy because I'm so grateful to them for the path that they have led us on. We've been following it for more than 3 decades now, and we'll be discussing actually some of the highlights of their teachings and how this happened for us and so many others over the years, along with just amazing technologies, spiritual technologies, and I'm not even sure all the things they're doing right now. But I'm so happy that they're here with us. And I wanted to share a quote from their website because I thought it was very interesting. The two of us have become resurrection specialists through decades of working with our own challenges and those of others. We've learned that anything and everything can be resurrected if we're able to meet it with an open heart and surrender to the divine mystery. Beautiful. So Karen and Barry, I hope that you'll just start us off. We're going to be talking about the importance of connecting with your true identity, and just start off by telling us a little more about yourselves and why this topic is so important to you.
Well, it's been the story of our last 40 years of our life, really. It's both going through an awakening process in the 30s and coming to the realization that inside of each one of us, you call it the soul, some people call it the self, whatever it is, but there is within inside of us an aspect of the divine. A metaphor we like to use is that we're a drop in the ocean of God, the ocean of God in the drop of our being. That's really our true eternal nature. The whole purpose of the human experience is to realize that, is to come to experience, commune with that, and embody our true nature as a soul. And that's what we've done with 30 people, for 30 years with people. We simply assist them to make the inner journey to have a direct conscious communion with who and what they really are. And that necessarily means going through all the things that we are not, that
Right.
we are attached and identified to. Some people call it the false self, the ego. But that's the whole dynamic. That's all that we do with people, is assist them to make that journey, to learn how to make that journey. We liken ourselves to training wheels. We just walk beside people and help them gain the inner capacities, know how to make that connection. What do I do when all of a sudden I'm seized with an overwhelming emotion or an external crisis that throws me out of balance. And how can that be the next step in my journey? Because what we've come to understand is that when once we consecrate the purpose of our existence, why we're here, to realizing who we are and turn it over to the source of our being, which you call it God, the source, or whatever it is, it does itself. In other words, the divine is always waiting to bring us
Right.
home to who we are. The reason that doesn't happen for most of us is that we still think we're running the show. Our hands are still gripping the steering wheel, thinking we're guiding this thing. So God, the divine, our higher self, just stands back and says, it's fine. I love you. I honor your free will. You get to drive the bus as long as you want. And the great realization is when we realize it makes us take the big leap on our path was we don't have to do this. As a matter of fact, we don't know how to do this. If we knew how to do it, we'd already be there. We'd already be in the constant state of love, joy, happiness, everything. But we aren't.
Hmm.
We're suffering. Most people are suffering to one degree or another. And that big step of realizing that we can surrender ourselves completely to the source of our being, the ocean at which we are a drop of, and it wants nothing more than to take us home as quickly and easily possible to realizing who we are. And that's the essence of how we work with people.
Right.
Let them realize that once they do that, the journey is on, and no matter what is happening to them, arising from within or coming into their outer life, is that journey. So there's no opposition to anything. Everything is brought there by God. If you
Right.
truly surrender to that, God says, okay, I'm going to bring you home. And whatever is there is the next step. Karen has a beautiful saying. She said, the stuff is not in the way, it is the way.
Hmm. Yeah, I noticed also there was a place on your website where you mentioned embracing life's challenges as a key to awakening too. I think that that is an integral part about it, is reframing the way that we perceive the journey.
It's enormous, Jane. It's one of the biggest steps we see people make, because the natural inclination when we have a difficult emotion come up or we get conflicted is to think something's wrong.
I'm not doing this right.
This should,
You
I
know,
gotta,
I should be doing this different.
Hmm.
I should
Right.
I should be different.
Yeah, something's wrong with me. I think that is the
Mhm.
essence of the illusion.
picture.
Right? Or something's
Mhm.
wrong with this life I'm living. I'm not doing
Hmm.
it right. And so if we can see our way through that, if we can let go of those judgments, those thoughts, those ways of looking at it that are completely creating suffering, then we can recognize that every one of these things is a doorway. And if we
Right.
stand in the doorway and just be with it and meet it with everything we have, if we can breathe into it, we can feel what the feelings are that are there, if we can identify the thoughts and the punishing judgments and the harsh concepts that we're agreeing with that none of which are true, then if we turn it all over to God and God within, which is the same thing as the soul or the true self, we are taken on a journey that is just perfect for where God is trying to bring us next. And so we've learned in our work together to just trust that implicitly beyond anything
Right.
our minds could ever come up with,
Hmm.
anything we could ever mock up.
We should try early on when we work with people 30 years ago. We had all these conceptual
Right.
ideas of where they were and, psychologically and things and what the next process should be. Every time we tried, it just fell flat in the face. We just had to surrender to the mystery and let the divine show them exactly, take them, lead them step by step through
Hmm.
the process. And the whole process we talk about a resurrection is realizing the divine is infinitely wise, powerful, and loving, and it cannot fail.
Mhm.
Right.
We know that. We've seen it through 30 years. of walking beside people through the most horrendously difficult things you can imagine. Things
Right.
no person can get through this. But we've never seen anything that can't be resurrected. It just,
Right.
if you can keep surrendering it and being with the
Mhm.
process, you are led through it every time to something magnificent. Because what was there was what was in the way of you experiencing the magnificence of the divinity that you are.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting part of the illusion that, and this is something I didn't really fully understand myself for a while, quite a while. I can't remember how many years ago it was now, but there's this sense of being separate from God.
Mhm.
And then I at a certain point I realized that is all just the illusion too.
Mhm.
We're separate from God because we believe we're separate from God. If we don't believe we're separate from God, then we're not. It's all connectedness. It's just that we're not we're not there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wanted to share a thought, feeling, and kind of turn it over to you, Barry and Karen, have your thoughts on it, is that God's source loves us enough to let us forget about God while we're here on earth and do a lot of screwy things and have all kinds of some seemingly terrible, tragic things, painful things happen to us, to maybe awaken in this lifetime or not, to going back to where you were eloquently describing at the beginning of surrendering and being one with God. So sort of the comment question leading into you. So on the other side, where we're connected more directly with source when we're not in human body, we come back here and we forget. So the idea is like, wow, we go back to the other side without the veil and things make sense, but we're still working on things. We're still growing and being a piece of God, that piece growing. So I'm just kind of wondering your thoughts about that. That's not quite a direct question. It's more of a thought,
What is the
perception.
specific question you have, Philip?
So the question would be, is this idea of forgetting that on the other side, we who are struggling here under pain and tragedy and forgetting and not trusting the source, and where your wonderful work is opening them up to, opening us all up to, the idea that we have forgotten kind of who we are, but on the other side, we do know who we are. So we come here in a state of forgetting, that William Wordsworth, life is but a forgetting. We come from a distant star in trails of glory.
Mhm. The question, that's what goes on. As soon as you incarnate, there's a veil. There's a veil.
Forgetting pill, amnesia pill.
Veil
Swallow it when you're born.
people who have literally regressed back to prior to coming in, where they're standing and remembering, knowing who they are. And then the minute they come in and the cord attaches to the womb and they descend, boom, lights out. It's just the way it is here. And we could talk a long time about that, but that's not the point
the
of this.
way it is.
Right.
But I think that's the biggest challenge about being here. I think that the whole long stream of human evolution is about this.
Yeah.
That we come here over and
Yeah.
over and over
Right.
again as souls, taking on a new body each time. And each time, if it's going well, if we're in touch with our soul a little bit more in each lifetime, we're living more from that divinity that we are.
A little bit.
Until finally,
Mhm.
the sense I get is that we reach a point where we no longer need to come in and inhabit a body. We no longer need to take incarnation because we've woken up enough that we remember now that it always struck me, it's like that old thing that we used to do as kids where you would try to pat your head and rub your belly in a circle. And it's really hard to do both of those things at the same time. It's a lot like that when we look out at the world and we see that everybody is inhabiting a separate form, right? You're in that form over there and you're in that form.
So it appears.
And we all seem to be so separate and so distinct and so non-connected with each other. And yet the real truth is obviously that we all know and that we're all living into is we are all part of one great being.
Mm-hmm.
It's as they say in one spiritual tradition, you are another me. I am another you. And so it seems to me that's the goal of human life, is to
Mhm.
reach that point where, okay, I've got it. I've got it enough now. I'm solid enough in it that I no longer need to come back down there and do what you're talking about, Philip, with going through the suffering and the traumas, all of which stem from that forgetting.
Mhm.
Mental
Right.
forgetting,
Right.
all one being.
And the waking up happens when we make that inner journey, as we peel one layer of forgetting off after another, and we experience more of our true essential nature. The obvious truth that we are not what we see in the mirror alone, that we are something so far beyond that, something that exists beyond any incarnation, that is everything that we're seeking. That's it. That's the flowering. That's the end of this long journey where the soul is in incarnation. It comes to this flowering
Mhm. Right.
that is the awakening that, the great ones have all shown us what
That looks
what
like.
that looks like. That's
Right.
where we're all going.
Yeah. It's I think it's interesting too, thinking of our journey, Philip and me. We were involved with spiritual development for many, many years before we met you.
Mhm.
And we spent probably, well, about a decade in a spiritual organization where the leader had all the truth and wisdom, and everybody, was followed the leader, which still is very prevalent even among in spiritual circles, interestingly.
Mhm.
Um, and we finally decided, well, if he has all this truth and wisdom, why can't we have it? And we left. And then that was
You need to be there. Exactly.
right. And the thing is, then we were searching for that truth and wisdom within ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's still from that point, the point when we left there to the time when we met you was 4 years. And that's the gift that we got from you. One of them. It was not the only thing. We learned so much. But the gift of being able to connect with that divine truth and wisdom, and actually understanding, from within ourselves, we could start to see the beauty and the magnificence within ourselves.
Yeah.
That was something. That's the thing that I can't possibly ever thank you enough for, because
Mhm.
and it's interesting because it's not as hard as people would think. And it just, I think it's just so direct, and that I think it's being very direct about it that actually makes it work. Because we went to lots of classes and intuitive things, and it's like, oh, you think about the light and then this, and then the truth, and it just never worked for us. And then we learned from you. And I wonder if you would want to touch a little bit on what that is the really what I would consider to be the foundation for advancing and being able to overcome all those burdens.
Mm. Mm.
It's
There's
a
so
direct
much we could say about
it's a
that.
direct experience.
Yeah.
It's like living in the egoic world of third dimensional consciousness. It's kind of like it's like living in flatland. Let's just use this little simple metaphor. It's like living in flatland. When you connect with this, you're expanding another whole dimension of being.
Mm-hmm.
How
Right.
can I explain to somebody in flatland what a sphere is? If they you see a little dot and circles and a dot, and that's it. But to tell them what a sphere is, they'll never understand that. When you experience this, like you say, it seems impossible, incomprehensible, whatever. But once you experience it, and you know what's there, something so profoundly changes in your sense of who and what you really are,
Right.
and the capacity that you have. All of a sudden, there's insight, there's knowing. You just know things about things. You're no longer caught in your head worrying and thinking. You sit down, you get quiet, boom, you see it, you understand it. It's direct insight. You get the whole gestalt of a problem immediately. You know exactly there's this challenge that comes up. Well, we could do this, we could do that. We could all these different things, all these ideas. And you sit down, you go inside and go, God, show me, soul, show me what it is. You get immediately this feeling, that's the door. I know it, and I know it's right. It's just a whole other dimension of being that is not accessible to us when we're in, the human identified, solely human identified state of being. But once we
Mhm.
take that next step and make that inward journey and have that conscious communion, feel that presence within us, that's it. That's everything. That's the goal of what we hope for people and do with people.
Mhm. Right. And I think you've been pointing to this area,
It's right.
talking about it, and that's it where it is. It's really, and it's interesting. The heart is in this, it's at the center of our being. And having, with all the years we've been doing this, we recognize even more and more clearly now, always, how true it is that everything is connected and everything has meaning. And I think when you really look into the heart, it becomes pretty obvious what the meaning is, and how profound the wisdom is that comes from there when you open to the truth that exists.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you go. That's it. Jane.
Yeah,
You
that
understand.
was a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And when we learned that process, which I think you're going to do with us today, right, in the here in the circle, when we learned that process, I was working as an architect, and I felt like my soul was dying. My energy was really low. My life force, my desire to go, to continue on was dubious. I knew something big had to change. And when we learned this process, I started doing it every morning. And I think within a week, I was in a completely different place. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. I had to make that extra 15, 20 minutes, to sit and do the process. But I've never, in all these years, I've never gone back where I was before. I can't wait to get up in the morning. I still connect with that truth in me, and it's more, it's easier. Obviously, it's much easier now, and clearer, and it goes deeper, to really, I think, to me, a more direct communion with God. I felt at a certain point, God started talking to me, and it was kind of like, who is that?
Yeah.
But it is, to me, the most amazing of all things.
Yeah, to us too. It's our favorite thing about everything that we share with people. It's just helping people to get in touch with that sacred space where the light of the divine is shining in them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why our website is called Luminous Self. It's all about getting in touch with the fact that, yes, we are luminous. We are not those dark, shrouded beings that we so often go through life thinking that we are.
Mm-hmm.
We are something so much vaster and more multidimensional and something eternal. And that's what's living at our core, in our heart of hearts.
Right.
So we love nothing more than to help people connect with that. And as that happens, then all the gifts begin to manifest, that sense of love for themselves and for everyone else, a sense of unity rather than separateness, and definitely the feeling that I know what I need to know when I need to know it. It will come to me. It is coming to me.
Yeah.
I can trust that.
Mm-hmm.
No longer deciding from up here in that binary world of the mind, it's either this or it's that. It's either good or bad, up or down. We're living more and more from the unity of that soul space, that space within us where the divine does live and does shine out. And as we begin to open to that more and more deeply, everybody around us begins to shift too. That's another thing that happens. And people begin to see that their family interactions are changing.
Yeah.
Their special or their close relationships are changing at work and in their families and in their lives in general. Everything begins to resonate more from that space of the soul, less from the space of the mind or the separate self.
The outer reality is nothing more than a holographic projection of our inner state. That's why people can, why do I keep creating this terrible relationship?
Right.
Mm,
But when this is open, and you alluded to this, Jane, I think it's really important. Anatomically speaking, in our subtle anatomy, just above our heart, physical heart and heart chakra, right here, right about there, a couple inches above our heart.
Mhm. Yeah, you can feel it. It's a tender spot, I think.
Where you put your hands to pray. Okay, this is why people do that, because we intuitively know that something is in there. This is the altar of our being. This is where the temple is, where God resides in us. And so part of what we'll do, it's as simple as this: if we can bring our consciousness or awareness to this place, out of here, we had a great teacher who said, out of the office and into the cathedral.
Oh, that's great. I like that. I'll have to write that down.
Drop down into the cathedral and simply, I mean, a very simple process we can do daily is just to bring our awareness there, come into our breath, use that as the bridge from our thinking mind and our outer awareness to our inner world, and then bring that breath,
Mhm.
all that breath down to this place above our heart
Mhm.
and just reside there. Let our sense of being reside there. And that alone, if we did that over a period of time, this soul, it's called the soul lotus. It like is a flower in there that's closed, it just opens. It slowly opens and slowly opens. And when we have the intention, this is the real great power is our intention and our desire to connect. The greater the intention and the greater the desire to connect, it just accelerates the process. It just, you were ready, Jane.
exactly.
You were burnt out with the way that was going. You knew something more. And that's what we're seeing now. People everywhere are leaving their jobs. They're
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
burnout.
Right.
wanting to do something different. They know there's more than this. This is not, this sort of dullness, deadness is not who I am, not the way life should be. There's something more. That's the sign of the collective awakening we're in right now. That's, to me, it. When you're ready and you feel that desire and you have an intention, the doors just open. And then especially when you turn the whole process over to God or the source, say, it's all yours, lead me home.
This is your life.
Yeah.
You know what is best for me. You know what you are wanting to unfold through me. You know much more about that than I do.
And the path there.
And you know how to get there from here.
Yeah.
I do not. I don't have a clue.
Right.
What we do in sessions, when people come with a big dilemma, which is often the case, we
Mhm.
immediately turn it all over to God
Yeah,
and
it's so
say,
important.
I don't have a clue how to get through this, and it's okay. I'm not supposed to have a clue. I don't need to know. I will, if I can turn this all over and know that the divine has way more intelligence, way more wisdom, way more of everything than I can access at this point, then I know I'm in the best hands of all. And why would I want to be taking the steering wheel when I can give that steering wheel over to the infinity of what we call God, the one, the source? There are so many names for it in different traditions. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what we call it. What matters is that we know that if we give everything over to that, that will live through us. To
It
the
does.
degree we surrender
Does.
our little lives to that,
Yeah.
that is what will come through us.
Yeah.
And then miracles happen.
Yeah.
Then unbelievable things unfold,
Yeah,
as
they
you
do.
know.
Right.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys see people having sort of a life purpose or life plan unfolding?
Yeah, and that's, Phil, thank you for bringing that up. That's one of the reasons, we said the soul is one-stop shopping. It's like, whatever it is, the soul's the answer.
Right.
I want to find my life purpose. And they read this in books and search, and that's fine. That's fine. What we always say is, well, it's waiting inside of you for you to get in touch with it. But it can't come forth until you are in touch with who you really are. Because
Mhm.
it's going to unfold. It's not out there. It's going to unfold from within you.
Like that.
Right.
And it does. And they don't even know what it is until they're in it. I mean, it literally,
Mhm.
they come back and they go, well, I'm doing this whole new thing. It just happened. Boom. And their purpose for being like happened to you guys. It just all of a sudden, boom, you found yourself with this body of work.
You
know?
find yourself drawn towards something.
Something.
Right. Yeah.
You can't even say why. You don't really have an intellectual sense of it or understanding of it,
No.
but you just know that you're drawn toward it. And when you move in that direction, more interesting things start unfolding. And that connects you with this other whole bridge to a different level of the path. And everything just happens if we can learn to turn it all over to that place in us that knows. So that we're
Right.
no longer making decisions. We're no longer evaluating options. We're just
Right.
that one true thing that the soul is always putting out for us to pay attention to.
Yeah.
The thing that
Yeah. And it is also, it's interesting. I realized at a certain point too, it is the thing that makes us feel the most alive.
yeah.
It is like as I mentioned, my soul felt like it was dying. And at that point, I had no idea what that meant. Soul feels like it's dying. I mean, it wasn't a religious thing or any, it just was, that was what I felt.
Yeah.
And this is, your purpose is the thing that makes your soul come alive, or your soul makes your purpose come alive, or they come together. And I look at aliveness as one of the greatest measurements of whether a person is on the on the path, firmly on the path, or if they're deviating off. Because when you feel alive and it's all working, and I shouldn't say it's all working, because things don't necessarily all work, because we have challenges, but if you're feeling alive and it just feels like the right direction, then it is.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because the thymus is right here too, the thymus gland, and that is our source of aliveness.
Yeah.
Which is all, it's all right here.
One thing.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So how about, do you feel like it's a good time for the meditation?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. So we can all just let our eyes close again and let our awareness travel from the outer world into the inner world. One of the easiest ways to help that happen is by getting in touch with the feeling of the breath coming and going. Not making the breath do anything in particular, but just feeling that the breath is breathing us exactly the way that it wants to do that. And so one breath may be more surface level, and another breath might be deeper. You're just observing and feeling the sensations as the breath comes into the body and goes back out. There's nothing we need to know how to do. There's nothing we can do wrong. We're just feeling the breath breathing us. So as we become aware of thoughts or other sensations in the body or feelings, we can just notice them and let them be as they are. And just gently let our awareness return to the breath so that the breath becomes our anchor point, a place we can always come back to. And we can feel every breath helping us to just let our energies settle in our bodies. So we're just relaxing into being in our bodies. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to make happen. Just simply being as we are. And being with ourselves in that allowing, spacious way that says, no matter what's happening, it's all welcome here. Everything has its place. You don't need to make anything go away or be different. It's all perfectly fine. And just feeling the breath coming in and going out, and all the little and big sensations that we are aware of. Noticing that they come and go. They keep changing. And as we settle into that relaxation more deeply, we can then invite the breath to carry our awareness into that sacred space up above our heart and our heart chakra. That space that's called a lot of different things in different traditions. We call it the soul space, the heart of hearts, the sacred core of our being. And sometimes it helps to place a hand over that space in the upper chest. And you'll notice that as you bend your elbow, the hand just naturally goes to that space. And we can feel it making contact with our skin or our clothing. And just feel that there's a warmth underneath our hand. There's a sense there of the aliveness that Jane was talking about. It's sense that there's something within us that's always there, always alive, always present. We can wander away from it, but it never leaves us. And so we can invite the breath to just help us to become aware of what it feels like in that space and what the unique energetic signature of that space is for us. It's not something that we can usually easily describe or put into words, but there's a feeling there that this is the essence of who I am. This is the core of my beingness, the innermost sanctum of who and what I am. And so just letting your awareness of whatever is there float to the surface so that you can just simply be with it, breathe and feel it, and drop into it more deeply. And since this is the place where the light of God lives within us, and it's an eternal flame that never goes out, you may be experiencing your soul space in terms of a light, some sort of radiance, some sort of warmth. There may be color and even shape that come into your awareness. And so however you might be experiencing that sense of an innermost flame, just let that unfold and let it be what it is. And if you're not experiencing that right now, that's okay too. Everything happens in its own time. And you can simply ask the divine to make you more aware of your innermost light as it's appropriate for you. And that will happen over time. But the main thing is just to feel that you are coming deeper and deeper into yourself, to what Barry often calls the altar of your being. a place where you are connecting with your innermost divinity, and where we remember that God does live within us as our true self. And that the same is true for every other being on this planet. This is the place that holds all the wisdom, all the information, all the consciousness that we need to live this lifetime. It's all there. And as we ask it to come forth, it does. But it never forces itself upon us. It really is there constantly waiting for us to come home to it and waiting for us to invite it to come forward. And so right now, if there's a situation in your life that you would like more of your own inner wisdom to illuminate, you can just gather up the situation and all the elements that go with it, and you can turn it over to this innermost sanctum of your being. Give it to your soul, your true self, the God within you, and ask if there's anything that you can see and know about it right now. And we'll just continue to breathe open a bigger and bigger space within us for anything that the soul is wanting to share with our human selves to come forward. Just breathing and feeling how available we are to that. We can be like a little child. God, I really have no idea what to do in this situation, or with this person, or relationship, or dilemma in my life. So please show me the way. Open the doors that need to be opened and close the doors that need to be closed so that everything can unfold in the highest way for myself and for all beings involved. Just continuing to invite anything and everything that you're ready to see and know to come forward in its own way, usually a very simple and straightforward way. And if you're not feeling that much is happening for you right now, you can simply ask that as you're ready, over time, what you need to know, how you need to move forward in this situation can be shown to you. Might happen when you're taking a shower or out for a walk. And just continuing to turn it all over to the divine, within and without. And finally, since the soul or the true self is who we really are, is our innermost nature, embodies all the divine qualities. And the one that most of us need more than anything else is the quality of love. So just as you continue to breathe and feel in this inner sanctum, this core of your being, feel the love that your soul has for your human self, and for all the different challenges and traumas and difficulties that your human self may have endured and may be enduring right now. throughout the course of your life. And just breathe open more space for the love of your true self, your essential self, to come forth and to bless you in the way that only it can. Look at your humanness through the eyes of your true self, the divine eyes that live within you. And for some, this will be like looking at yourself through the eyes of your holy Christ self, the Christ within, that sees all and knows all and has nothing but love for every bit of us. Even the parts we ourselves have the most trouble accepting and loving. So just let yourself bask in that love, that complete acceptance. And know that that's there for you whenever you need it, whenever you'd like to experience more of it. And that as that love becomes more and more present in your awareness, it wants to stream out to bless all beings and all parts of our world. It wants nothing more than that. That is its greatest joy. So just allowing a few moments to complete your journey, your being with yourself in this sacred way, however that wants to happen. And as you feel ready and complete with what's happened, you can just gently allow your eyelids to open. And you can come back to the outer world and feel the connection that we're all sharing here.
It's almost hard to talk. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's like a homecoming to me to hear your voice.
Mhm.
Karen and Barry both have such beautiful voices for the
Yes.
meditation.
Thank you.
And I do see some people are joining us. Carol Ann Allen says, beautiful meditation, thank you. And one of our co-hosts is also here, who says the soul is the answer. She actually was one of our students a while back, so she has the
Lula.
same perspective. Yes, Lula Mora.
Wow.
And I thank you. I wanted to mention also, when you were talking about the love in your body, I love to imagine love in every cell. I think if you imagine it, I feel it, like my body starts to tingle with all that love.
That's
And
the
then,
aliveness,
oh,
isn't
go
it?
ahead. What's that?
That's the aliveness, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you also mentioned that you send it out to the world as you're I can't remember exactly what you said, being a blessing of love to the world. And
Mm.
I think this is it for me. Like this is why we have the circle of love and light, is just because if we, one of the best things I think any of us can do is to open to the love in our hearts and live from that place, because then we're radiating that out to the world, and it's the light is starting to shed on the darkness and move it out.
Mhm.
I think that's the only way things can change, really, that I'm aware of.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
beautifully put.
yes.
Yeah. And another whole meditation. I mean, that meditation could have gone on for much longer, but I was aware of our time frame.
That was
But
beautiful.
there's a
Perfect.
beautiful one of just being in touch with that love of the soul and then inviting it into every cell.
Mm-hmm.
That go on for as long as it would like to.
Mhm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
feeling it coming out the pores of your skin, so to speak, like a vapor, like a very ethereal wafting that can then fill your entire energetic space or your aura.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with that one for years.
Yeah, I love that.
I felt that I needed that. And I met a teacher that said, this will really help you to feel stronger in the world. Because I felt very much impacted by everything in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Right.
have that sense of core strength when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger. And that really changed my life, doing that meditation every morning.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Right. I'm sure it's great for your health, everything. It just is. It's that's it.
Yep, it's
As
your
far as I'm concerned.
the center of things.
Right. Yeah. And I know you mentioned that this is important, especially at this time on the planet. I was
Mhm.
curious if you'd like to say a few more words about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
All this chaos we're seeing right now that seems to be building is really the sign of the birthing. It's everything, the light is pouring in, and everything unlike the light is being stirred up. So it can be seen for what it is. We can really see what's always been there. It's always
Mm-hmm.
been hidden. And all the prophecies, the native prophecies, the great spiritual traditions always said, right at this time on the earth, there would be this divine descent, whether you call it the second coming. In Hinduism, it's the coming of the Kalki avatar, the Maitreya Buddha, the Imam Mehdi in Islam. But there'd be this incarnation of the divine into each one of us. So we would be the realization of that.
Mm.
It's like humanity is going into a chrysalis right now. We're going into a chrysalis to shed this little caterpillar identity that we thought we were, little physical human beings, to realize that we're divine, luminous butterflies. We're going to be flying into a whole new dimension of being. That's, the Incan prophecies say, going to go through a crack in time for the birth of Homo luminous, a whole new species. That's our reality. That's why we're here. It's the most amazing, wonderful time. It's the fruition of the entire human experience is upon us. And we're lucky we get to be here for it. We are here to experience it and to be part of it. The very thing we're doing here tonight is our part. This is how we become those luminous, transcendental, divine butterfly beings that are the new species. And in doing that, everything changes. Everything out there will change and reflect that. It will change no other way, as you said. It can't change out there. It has to be reflected from our true beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important. That's why you may feel called more than ever to go within, and parts of your life that you thought were so important, and things you may find falling away, things that you were engaged in, and things that lose energy. It's all the sign that you're becoming a butterfly, and those old-eyed caterpillar identities are being dissolved. The caterpillar dissolves away in the cocoon. It literally becomes a gelatinous mass,
Wow.
except for its beating part and a little bit of a nervous system until the butterfly emerges.
And a lot of us feel that way right
Yeah,
now. We feel
yeah.
like we're melting into that puddle like the wicked witch, and we don't know what's left of us.
Mhm.
We just heard from someone recently
Yeah,
that we
all
had
the
worked
time.
with a couple of months ago, and she said that her life has gone through a shredding.
Meltdown.
Many things are melting down within and without, and that has to happen.
Has to.
Again, that is not in the way. That is the way
Has to.
that this process is unfolding. There needs to be the purging and the letting go of everything that the light is not, as you were saying,
Yeah.
so that the light that we are can come forward without all these layers of false self on top of them, without all these overcoats, as we've put it and heard a Hindu teacher describe it as a long time ago and wrote a book about it called Taking Off Overcoats. He said, who we are is radiant beings of light. There's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing to fix or change. All we need to do is take off the overcoats.
Right.
And that's really what we do
That's
in
the truth.
sessions with people.
That's the
We
truth.
just walk alongside them as the overcoats fall away.
Yeah.
And we've learned a lot of things over the years and been given a lot of gifts from the divine in terms of how to help that process happen more easily, more smoothly, with the least amount of suffering. But that's basically what goes on for all of us.
Right.
Even those who aren't aware of it are noticing that their lives are shredding.
Yeah.
But they just don't have a context for what's happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more of us that can hold that context for all of us, the easier it will be for everybody to go through that metamorphic process.
Everything is
Because we are
supporting
all
it.
here to go through it.
There's never been
Mhm.
an easier time to awaken.
Mhm.
Everything is supporting. We're seeing people go through things in weeks and months that it took years to go through,
Mhm. Or
in terms
decades.
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
just,
It's getting thinner, the valium
yeah, it's just,
barrier, the darkness is lightning. Mhm.
Everything's accelerating.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
what we're doing is, it's like sometimes I think the separate ego is being taken as far as it can go because we see so much divisiveness out there and so much conflict and oppositional energies. But that's just all the illusion that we're separate. And that illusion is playing itself out to the nth degree right now, maybe so we can all get over it.
Right.
To
Yeah.
exhaustion.
Yeah, it definitely is exhausting.
on the news. But what I experience when I go to my little town of Klamath Falls, cashiers people are just there like they've never been there.
Mhm.
You
That's
feel more
happening too.
love and connection than I've ever experienced. It's just the
Yeah.
awakening is happening. I see it.
Mhm.
They're happening
Yeah.
side by side.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Lula says exactly. We're entering the golden era. Lula is delightful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
She just came back from Colombia, I think it is. She's that was where she was from. Wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, this has just been very special to me, I have to say, and I think wonderful for everyone who is hearing it, has heard it, and will be hearing it. We'll be sharing it out with as many people as we can.
Wonderful. I can do that too. I'm on Facebook.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And would you like Karen and Barry to let people know how they can find out more about you and your work?
Sure. Yeah, our website is called Luminous Self. And there you'll find information about our sessions, our books,
Yeah.
a lot of
Contact us.
Resources that we've created, modules, and all sorts of things that support your awakening. That's really why we're here.
Yeah.
Our greatest joy is to support people's awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Us
there
too.
is available. And yeah, on that website, there's an availability of a free 20-minute consult that you can have with us.
Mm.
Email us and we'll set up a time with you. And we can explore together in that 20 minutes whether our work might
Yeah,
resonate with
that's
you,
right.
whether it's to go on a deeper journey together, or whether it's to share particular facets of our work that you found compelling when you looked at the website. So
Is that luminousself.com?
Luminous
is.
Self, www.luminousself.com.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
It's luminouself.com.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for being here. This has been
Aw,
a delight. Warms my heart.
aw,
Much
same
love
here,
to you
Jane
and
and
everyone
Philip.
else out there. Yeah.
Yeah, love and blessings to everyone.
Thank you. And for anyone who wants to know more about the circle, we do have a website at circleofloveandlight.org where you can learn more, and you can actually become a member and receive some supportive materials. And also, again, thank you for being here, because being here and being a source of light for the world is a great gift that we can give. And it's something all of us can do it. That's one of the things. If you ever feel like, I don't know what I can do that is meaningful, this is something you can do. It's meaningful to you. It's meaningful to others around you. And it is meaningful to the world, the whole world right now. So if you want to also support the circle, there are a few things you can do. You can like our page. You can share this video with your friends. And this is a great one. I think people would just really treasure this. And you can invite your friends to join you and come back next week. So again, thank you so much, Karen and Barry. This is, like I said, it's been so special to me.
Everybody
And I am sure to
here.
Philip too.
Being who you are
Yeah.
and shining out into the world.
Thank you.
Okay.
Much love to all of you.
Great being with you. So special. Beautiful.